It's safe to say that AOT is going down as one of the greatest anime of all time, but why? That sounds like a stupid question, but hear me out.
I have my personal opinions of why I love the show so much, but if you really want to break it down, we can analyze an anime with these 8 elements. And if you really look at it, AOT isn't really the best at any of these categories.
Many can agree that Web Review has better animation, Violet Evergarden has better soundtracks, ReZero has better voice acting, so what is it?
It's synergy. AOT isn't the best at any of these categories, but you can't say that it's bad at any of them either.
We love AOT because of the synergy. This is why we watch anime. If I want to listen to really great music, I go to the Kennedy Center an hour away and listen to the NSO. If I just want to experience a great story, I could pick up an actual book. If I wanted a great masterful cultivation of all of these components, I'll watch AOT.
Stay tuned for my 8-part series on why Attack on Titan is a masterpiece.
I'd be lying if I said AOT didn't get its burst of fame into pop culture if it wasn't for its unique premise. Taking a look at the main fodder enemies, Izuma took out 2 birds with just 1 stone. Japan loves kaiju monsters and America loves zombies, so why not fight both? This concept alone was enough to guarantee Season 1's success, and to add to that, you can technically call the Titan Shifters Gundam if that's your thing. It's just that instead of metal, you have flesh. But if that's not enough for you, let's talk about the ODM gear. This mechanism is simple enough for anyone to understand, but more importantly, it's both cool and unique.
Let me put an emphasis on both. Nowadays, people don't really praise innovations as much as they do overall enjoyment.
No credit is given to originality to the 700th person with pyrokinesis, but it's whatever, fire go boom boom. But when a new idea does appear, it may come out as kind of dumb, but that's fine, at least it's interesting and shows some effort. And I don't expect every author to contribute something new to the table, so when something does hit both criteria, it's amazing. I haven't even scratched the surface of AOT's amazing world building, but it's safe to say that AOT has a captivating concept.
AOT is one of the few anime where people can agree that both the sub and dub has incredible voice acting.
Of course, there are people who will mindlessly hate on the dub, but the fact that the dub has created iconic audios that repost across the internet definitely says enough.
Damn you! You traitors!
Some of AOT's most memorable speeches come from Owen, but I actually want to look at how AOT handles Season 2's big confrontation. After any major villain gets revealed, there's always juicy dialogue to be had, and this show has squeezed every single ounce of this juice by giving both Reiner and Bertolt their own scene to vent. Bertolt remains silent as Eren and Reiner shout out in a hostile manner.
Do you think I'm aware of that fact? I don't need you shoving it down my goddamn throat! Then stop acting like you've got any right to feel sorry for yourself! We're living in a hell you two created! Are you proud of yourselves? You're not one of us! You've never been! You're not even human anymore!
Later, with Eren tied up and Reiner in Titan form, the show had isolated Bertolt, forcing him to speak his mind.
This was their choice.
No! You're wrong! Who chooses to be this? Tell me! What do you think I am? Huh? What? You think this is what we aspire to be? People loathe us. And why wouldn't they? We're monsters. We deserve to die for the things we've done. We're lost. We could live 1,000 years and never again know peace. Try to imagine that darkness.
A completely different reaction, contrasting from Reiner, but also showing 2 sides to the situation. They both didn't want to do this, but there's no road left but the one that leads to the end. Also, if you listen to how his friends first confront him, they actually represent the 5 stages of grief. This is genius script writing. Season 1 of AOT has a truly riveting plot. The story kicks off with the main character's Crimea River backstory. This is kind of typical in a lot of shows, but what's not normal is killing off your MC in the 5th episode, and then this.
While many people may just call it a shock factor, AOT still manages to build an amazing story. The difference here is that each event does not live in isolation. Each plot point gets developed or is a result of a masterful build-up.
Eren becoming Titan isn't bad shock factor because he utilized this ability throughout the rest of the series. This also begins the question of who the real monsters are. Even if you ignore all the foreshadowing leading up to Bertolt and Reiner's reveal, the Marley's mission to Paradise is fully fleshed out and makes the betrayal feel more organic. What really stands out to me is that this show never wastes its time. You can't have constant action all the time, but AOT utilizes whatever downtime the characters have to build the story. Wholesome interactions between comrades is essential to make you care for them, especially when everything turns out for the worst. The highest rated anime episode of all time wouldn't earn that spot if it wasn't for the build up that came before it. Even what I consider to be one of the most dull moments of the series, early season 2, which was still interesting, was Sasha's story with Kayla. I thought it was nice screen time for Sasha and nothing more, but I was wrong. The scene further drove the themes of perspectives from Revenge in season 4. Every moment in AOT matters, creating a masterful plot. A lot of people complain that the animation quality went down in season 4, but honestly, it's still fantastic.
There are smaller details that Mappa did to make the show feel more organic. As a whole, AOT's animation is top tier.
Even for non-important scenes, like why did Wit make this scene so gorgeous?
But of course, we know that the animation is best shown through the ODM scene, so I'll shut up and show you some Sakugo.
One big criticism that people had with season 1 was the lack of interesting side characters. That changes in season 2, where you care about everyone, each character given meaning. Even John Boy, who doesn't have that interesting of a backstory, contrasts with everyone else as he consistently displays a higher sense of morality and mercy. While AOT has a lot of depths, these people don't feel expendable, they're not forgotten and push the story forward. A common problem shown in Ascending MCs is that they often come off as static or one note, or if you make them too complicated, they come off as inconsistent and unrealistic. How do you make 3-dimensional characters when your art form is literally 2D?
You could say that season 1 Eren is both loved and hated.
To many people, he comes off as angsty, whiny, and explosive, even though it has a perfectly good reason to be. We've seen this type of energy before.
But it's because of this consistent drive that Eren has is why this scene works so well.
It didn't have to be like this. All that death could have been avoided.
Our MC's personality has done a 180, but he's given a perfectly good reason. Eren has learned that it was his father's fault as to why Paradise is suffering, but instead of yelling,
Oh, Titans! I must kill Titan! I don't care about what my daddy did! I want to stop a child mascot to every single Titan out there!
like a stereotypical hot-headed MC, he breaks down. This is how AOT makes their characters feel human. This is how you make dynamic characters that you can sympathize with. This doesn't just go for Eren. Almost courageous sacrifice in season 3 has impact when you remember how shell-shocked he was in season 1. I highly value music anime. The openings that Revel had provided for this series are beyond rock songs. These are orchestrations, so I recommend you listen to the full versions of these songs.
The way that they interconnect and reference each other through not only the lyrics but through the melody and motifs as well is a compositional feat.
Let's not forget about Requiem as well. Each opening's tone changes as the series goes on. Finding out start in chaos and despair, Guru no Yuma is a simple, action-packed theme to get our audience ready for battle. Finding new hope, Jionu, Tsubasa, and Sasagi are more patriotic as humanity stands proud. An underrated opening, Red Swan marks a turning point in the series. After learning how complicated the situation really is and learning that we've been fighting our own kind, charging into these fights doesn't seem as proud when we're going against other humans. Returning to the place where it all began, Shikabane is a callback to the first opening. With how thrilling the season is, it makes sense to bring back the hype.
As for what I can say about the OST, it's great.
The orchestral instrumentation gives off the time period that Paradise is set in, the electronic synths to counteract in a musical sense and emulate the steampunk aspects of the show. Attack on Titan has a fantastic soundtrack. Season 1 of AOT has been criticized to be full of hype but lackluster when you actually break down the story elements.
Now that we approach the end of the series, we can better analyze the story as a whole. Although the theme is simple, the way that Iseman executes his beliefs was masterfully done.
AOT is about moral ambiguity, how monsters and heroes are only defined depending on what perspective you take. There's no inherent good or evil, only people with different motivations, driven by how they were brought up. The huge controversy within the anime community on who's justified demonstrates how well the show demonstrates its message. Underneath this are subtopics that surround war, betrayals, uprisings, social classes, and discrimination that further push the tragedy of this war. Naruto has similar themes and has ended, giving us a solution to this problem.
Now, I can't actually put a good conclusion to the series because I'm an anime-only fan. Even if I did read the manga, this series is why the anime is a masterpiece. That being said, I will say this.
This phrase has always been kept in my mind. The world is cruel and merciless, but it's also very beautiful. Also, birds are a constant symbol for freedom, so I'm guessing that will somehow come into play as well.
Well, that about wraps it up, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now you're probably asking yourself, why was the video a bit choppy, and why did you have to do it under 10 minutes? Well, you see my friend, I have a TikTok channel, and they only allow me to upload 1-minute clips, so I'll be chopping up this video so I can upload it there, where I have a bunch of more followers. But I would really love to grow this channel, so you could subscribe, leave a like, or comment, that would be awesome. Or you could check out my TikTok under the same name, Cringe United. Because I really only scratched the surface of all these topics. I could probably go on and talk about an hour about Attack on Titan on just the music, the script writing, the story. And it would be really nice to take my time. I really felt like I was spitting bullets while I was recording. And guys, let me know, what other series do you want me to prove is a masterpiece? I already kind of have one in mind. Either way, thanks for watching.
Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager.